Hello everyone and welcome back to another modelled writing task 2 lesson, and today we're going to be looking at a question around the topic of sports. I just want to point out that this was a request made by an IELTS 7 Plus student, and thank you very much for this request. I just wanted to show that, I really do appreciate hearing from you all, and I will try my best to upload lessons that you feel need adding into the course. So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at one of the question types that Aparna has requested. So thank you very much for that. Let's take a look at the question. I'm not going to go over the features checklist again right away because I'll have it in the writing process. So we'll just jump straight into having a look at the question. So throughout education, boys often play sports for longer and more often than girls. Why do you think this is? Do you think this should be changed? Okay, so the first thing we need to do, as always, is to consider what type of question this is. And it's quite obvious to see that we are asked two questions, so it's a two-part question. Why do you think this is? Do you think this should be changed? And we're talking about the topic of boys playing sports more often than girls at school. Okay, so I think it's time that we start putting together a quick plan. So in our two-part question plan, our first supporting paragraph will answer question 1, which is, why do you think this is? Our second supporting paragraph will answer the second question, which is, do you think this should be changed? So let's start writing down our plan. In my first supporting paragraph, I will say, why is it that boys play sports more than girls? I will say that more opportunity. So there's more teams available. I'm going to write a few points here as my supporting paragraph will discuss a few ideas why boys play sports more than girls. There's more opportunity. I'm going to write stigma, which means an old idea that sticks. So there's a stigma in girls playing sports. A negative thought about girls playing sports. It's not popular for girls to do it. Sometimes, not all the times, but occasionally for girls playing sports, especially in schools, their friends may think that it isn't something that girls should be doing. Why else could it be that girls are playing sports? I've got two ideas. I could really use one more. I think I will go with pressure from parents. So quite often parents try and steer their children to do more traditional subjects at school. So for boys that might be science, and for girls that might be more academic subjects like literature or maths or something along those lines. Okay, so now we're going to look at this question, which is, do you think this should be changed? And I'll get a few ideas down in my plan here. I think the first thing I will say is equal opportunities. So letting children enjoy all subjects possible. So not already a sort of assigning subjects to certain children. And I think also another thing that we could change is for health reasons. So sports is good. Sports is good physically for all children. And that's definitely true. And is there anything else I can think of? Do you think this should be changed? You know what? I'm going to just leave it with these 2 points here. So, supporting paragraph 1, why do you think this is that boys play sports more than girls? More opportunity, so there's more teams available, more boys teams available. And often the subjects are more available for boys. There's a stigma for girls playing sports. It's not considered the right subject for girls to be doing. Often their friends may think that it isn't particularly cool for girls and their friends to be playing sports. Another reason why this could be is pressure from parents. Quite often parents want their children to do certain subjects. For example, maybe their son isn't allowed to do dance and they would prefer them to do other sports. And the same could be said for girls, of course. And also, second question, do you think this should be changed? Which I will address in supporting paragraph 2. Yes, I think it should be changed. Equal opportunities. So letting children enjoy all subjects possible and all the opportunities that they can. Let them make their own mind up. For health reasons, sports is good physically for anybody, and playing sports is, definitely good for that. I could also say, just a quick thought here, social skills. So it definitely builds skills in teamwork and social skills and that determination to succeed in sport. And maybe it would be good to offer that chance to both boys and girls. The question does not ask for my opinion, so I'm not going to include this in my conclusion. And really, that's it. So that's my plan for this question. Let's move on to beginning our writing. Okay, so here we have our features checklist. We need a 3-sentence introduction, support paragraphs 2, conclusion, clear ordering and structure, and plenty of examples when we are discussing these questions. And we have topic-specific vocabulary, sentence openers, and a mix of sentence types. So the first thing that I need to do, of course, is to begin with my introduction paragraph. So sentence 1, paraphrase. Throughout education, boys often play sports. Let's begin with throughout education. Let's go with during school. During school, there is often more opportunity for boys to play sports more than girls. Okay, so this is just paraphrasing this first part of the question. Throughout education, boys often play sports for longer and more often than girls. And I paraphrased with during school, there is often more opportunity for boys to play sports than girls. Let's go with than girls. And again, it is very important that you're reading back whilst you're writing so that you can edit and also consider what will come next. So in our second sentence, we will quickly say what we will do, which is our plan sentence. So in this essay, a great way to start, I will discuss why this happened and if it could be considered a positive thing. Okay, so I'm just basically saying that I'm going to answer those 2 questions. Why do you think it is? Should it be changed? In this essay, I'll discuss why it is and if it's good. Should it be changed? So that's my second sentence in the introduction paragraph. Let's go on to our next step, which is, of course, firstly. So we're going to be saying what we will say in each supporting paragraph. Firstly, I will consider why this is a trend, a noticeable trend in many educational establishments. Okay, so I'm not saying schools, I'm saying educational establishments, and that's purely because it sounds a bit more interesting. So I'm showing off to the examiner here. Okay, secondly, I will explore, apologies for the spelling here. Secondly, I will explore if this should be changed in the future. Okay, there we go. Quite simple. So the 3-part introduction paragraph here, it's 4 sentences, but really we could put these together. Okay, so that is my introduction paragraph complete. So let's begin with our first supporting paragraph. And why do you think this is? There are many reasons why boys play more sports than girls. Just an opening sentence so that I'm signaling to the examiner what I will talk about in this supporting paragraph. Firstly, there are often many more sporting teams available to boys during their school life. That's my topic sentence. So let's add a little bit more detail with a support sentence. Girls are often limited to only a handful of teams from which they can join. Okay, and you know what? I might use some brackets just to show that I can use punctuation well, such as netball, a very English sport. Okay, let's give an example. For example, as there are many boys' teams in different schools, different local schools, it is easier for tournaments to be organised, giving more games and practice times to the boys. Okay, which is definitely true. You know what? I'll use the British spelling here, even if it's saying I'm wrong. As there are more boys' teams in local schools, it's easier to make these games, after-school games and tournaments and competitions. The girls generally have less opportunities with that. And I'm just going to discuss one more point in this paragraph because I don't want to write too much so that I go over the time limit. So I was talking about a stigma. It's not particularly cool for girls to play sports sometimes, and pressure from parents. I think I'll go with pressure from parents. I feel a bit more confident writing about this in detail. Secondly, apologies for the spelling there. Secondly, parents often pressure their children to enroll in more traditional gender-based, that's a collocation. Gender, of course, means female or male. So gender-based subjects. Let's see. So I want to add some more detail. Secondly, parents often pressure their children to enroll in more traditional gender-based subjects. I might try and add a nice sentence opener here. Furthermore, the pressure from the families limits children's opportunities to explore new academics and interests. So furthermore, the pressure from their families limits children's opportunities to explore new academics and interests. Okay, we could say for example, but I just want to give an example that I could talk about, for example, with dance. So boys quite often are discouraged from more creative subjects such as dance and arts. Okay, so this is just an example that I'm giving from my knowledge. It's not a specific example, it's just something that I consider to be true. Okay, so let's read back this first supporting paragraph. There are many reasons why boys play more sports than girls. An opening sentence to signal what I'll discuss in this paragraph. Firstly, there are often many more sporting teams available to boys during their school life. Girls are often limited to only a handful of teams from which they can join, such as netball, another example given. For example, as there are many boys' teams in different local schools, it is easier for tournaments to be organised, giving more games and practice times to the boys. Secondly, parents often pressure their children to enrol in more traditional gender-based subjects. Furthermore, a nice opener, the pressure from their families limits children's opportunities to explore new academics and interests. Boys quite often are discouraged from more creative subjects such as dance and arts. The creative subjects are generally considered to be music, dance, arts, those kinds of things. Okay, so that looks like a pretty well organised supporting paragraph. There's some examples. We've got topic sentences and support sentences to give more detail. It's now time for us to move on to question 2, which is, do you think this should be changed? I think the first thing that I was talking about in my plan that I noted down was equal opportunities. So I'm going to begin with equal opportunities should be given to all people without consideration of gender. So that's a topic sentence and also kind of that opening sentence to signal to the examiner what I'll discuss. So equal opportunities should be given to all people without consideration of gender. So I'm still talking about this equal opportunities. In my opinion, there are many girls who would love to play more sports from a young age, but find it difficult to enroll is more for universities, to join teams and find clubs. Okay, so let's read that back. In my opinion, there are many girls who would love to play more sports from a young age, but find it difficult to join teams and find clubs. And I will give an example with for this reason. Girls are often left with little choice but to continue studies in more traditional academic subjects. Okay, so let's have a quick read back of that. For this reason, girls are often left with little choice but to continue studies in more traditional academic subjects. So I think I've made my point quite well for equal opportunities and letting children decide what they might enjoy in these sentences here. I think now I'll move on to my second point, which was for health reasons. Let's begin with a nice opener. Another point to add is that sports are excellent for our health and well-being. Girls, as much as boys, can benefit from regular exercise as well as gaining, I'm just going to add a quick point about the social skills, as well as gaining social skills and teamwork. Okay, so this is my second point I was discussing about health reasons, and I also considered in my plan that maybe there was the social skills and teamwork reasons too. So another point to add is that sports are excellent for our health and well-being. Girls, as much as boys, can benefit from regular exercise as well as gaining social skills and teamwork. So it's a little bit shorter than my first supporting paragraph, which is fine as I've added a lot of detail here. It's now time for us to move on to our conclusion, and I'm not really going to be giving my opinion here, so I can begin with in conclusion, of course. in conclusion, it seems that boys are given many more, instead of opportunities, chances to play sport, but girls should almost definitely have the same opportunities too. Okay, there you go. That's a short but sweet conclusion in one sentence. In conclusion, it seems that boys are given many more chances to play sports, but girls should almost definitely have the same opportunities too. So there we have this complete essay for a two-part question with the topic of sports and school. I've got my 3-sentence introduction. There is the 2 support paragraphs, which are very well ordered, and there are plenty of examples. I've got a short but sweet conclusion. There's lots of topic-specific vocabulary, such as creative subjects and academics, wherever that was. There's plenty of topic-specific vocabulary for sports and schools here. Sentence openers, yes, I've used lots of great sentence openers, and there's definitely a mix of sentence types in here. So I know that it might not have absolutely everything, but it's definitely got these key features here. So it's sure to score pretty well. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this modelled writing lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson.